If there's any topic that's been trending lately, it's self-care. Whether it be on TikTok, YouTube, or even at work or school, everyone seems to be talking about how important it is to practice self-care. And I agree. When so much is happening around us and so much about the world is changing, it's really important to take a step back and take the time to check in on ourselves and make sure we're doing okay.
Drive around.
Good morning. It's 5 a.m. Let's get our day started. And that can be hard. Sometimes we feel like we just have too much to do, so there's just no time to take our focus off of our work and think about how we're doing, how much sleep we're getting, and how happy we are. Other times, we just don't know what's wrong. I know that this happens to me all the time. I feel sad or upset or frustrated, but I don't really know why. And because I don't know why, I don't know what to do about it. So I try to forget that there's anything wrong, ignore the negative feelings, and distract myself with activities throughout the day. Except that never really helps and usually only makes me feel worse. And sometimes I just feel like I don't deserve it. Maybe I wasn't as productive as I wanted to be that day, and I think, Rebecca, until you finish all your tasks and more, you don't deserve a break. You have to earn it. I think that last mindset is the most toxic one, and it really shows why we need to think more about self-care. Too often, self-care is talked about as something that we have to earn or something we can use to reward ourselves. But I think that self-care is something that we all deserve because it's something that we all need. This is what you need to know about self-care.
And even in the cold, well, see, I hated you for a long time.
Just finished with practice. I'm gonna head back home now, take a shower, eat breakfast, and all
Let your
that.
hair fall into your eyes. And I try to.
We've all heard about self-care, right? But how often do we actually think about what it means? Obviously, self-care isn't just about spa days and cucumber facials. So, what else is it? The National Institute of Mental Health says that self-care means taking the time to do things that help you live well and improve both your physical health and mental health. Basically, this means that self-care is about taking responsibility for your own happiness. It means that realizing you can't rely on anyone but yourself to take good care of your health and well-being. And it means being your own best friend and learning to love yourself and be accepting of who you are, no matter what's going on in your life. That's the most important part.
I
ran out of spinach, but usually I would cut my bagel in half and put the egg in it and put the spinach in it and then dip it in guacamole. Research shows that without self-compassion, we really struggle to adapt to all of the obstacles we face in day-to-day life. But when we learn to be unconditionally kind to ourselves and make self-care a regular part of our daily lives, we become unstoppable because no matter what life throws our way, we'll react in ways that are kind and uplifting towards ourselves. Now I'm just gonna tidy up my room a little bit, refill my humidifier. Remember that self-care isn't all about productivity or painting nails or face masks. Sometimes all that matters is that you feel relaxed and free of stress, not that you do as much work as possible. It's not about feeling happy with our work, it's also about feeling happy while we're working. And that means that self-care will be different for everyone. We all have different needs and sources of anxieties. So ask yourself, what are the kinds of things that matter to me? What makes me feel good about myself? What causes me stress? Once you've answered these questions, you'll be well on your way towards practicing the kind of self-care that works for you. If you're enjoying the video, please leave a like. It would help me so much, and also consider subscribing. I also read all of my comments. Anyways, love you.
I'm leaving now. I'm approximating the time. What? No, it's like 6 more minutes. Goodbye.
No, wait, you could be in my vlog. You don't want to be in my vlog. No matter who you are, self-care is essential for your mental health. It's not a reward or something you should only do when you feel like you deserve it. We all deserve to be happy and feel good about ourselves. So don't look at it like a luxury. Look at it like something we all have to do to meet our physical and psychological needs as people. So I'm going to work and do a little bit of schoolwork and a little bit of editing. On Instagram, I asked you guys if I should cut my hair by myself, and 51% of you said yes and 49% of you said no. So I'm gonna go with... Also a reminder, drink some water right now. So now that we know that what self-care is, let's look at when it's most important to practice it. Oh my god, I forgot I was recording. Thinking of ordering some Vietnamese food. I'll be back. I'm back. Let me show you what I got. Summer rolls, vermicelli, these deep fried cheese wontons, which are really unhealthy. Balance. No matter what's going on in your life, you should always be practicing some form of self-care. Here's what I mean. Whether you're thinking about your classes, your relationships, or your extracurriculars, always ask yourself how your different choices are impacting your well-being. I remember in the 11th grade when I was doing the International Baccalaureate program, and I had to decide whether or not I was going to finish it. And this was not an easy decision. The whole reason I had moved to this school in the first place was to do this program, and I felt like I would be letting myself, my parents, and even some of my friends down if I dropped it. So for a while, I told myself I would tough it out and deal with the struggle for one more year. But then I realized I was wrong. I thought more about how it was impacting my life, and I realized I wasn't doing a good job of respecting my needs and my own mental health. This program was really taking a toll on me, and I was never getting enough sleep. I was way too stressed, and I was putting so much pressure on myself to perform that I would have a mental breakdown every single week. So I decided to put myself first and do what I felt was best for me. So I dropped the program in the 12th grade. I'm gonna have to bed now. Good night. It turns out that this was one of the best decisions I've ever made. My senior year of high school was one of the best years of my life. For the first time in so long, I had time to play sports, see my friends, and do things that I enjoyed without having to pull an all-nighter every week just to get my work done. I was able to let go of the feeling that I had to be using every second of spare time to study, which meant that everything else I did was so much more enjoyable. And the best part is, I still got into my first and second choice university later in that year, which taught me that putting my mental health first was the right call. That's not to say that you should run from adversity or be reluctant to work hard. Learning to do things we know are good for us, even when we don't want to, is one of the most useful skills we can develop, because there will always be aspects of our daily life that are both unappealing and necessary. Even your favorite class will assign work you do not want to do. Even your dream job will ask you to do things you find really difficult, and even the best relationship will require deeply uncomfortable conversations with your partner. Training your mind to stay focused and hardworking even when you'd love nothing more than to crawl into your bed and sleep is the only way to start making your dreams a reality, whatever they happen to be. That's just one example that shows the importance of regularly practicing self-care and making it a habit. Here's some other times where it's especially important to do so too. Imagine you go a whole week without doing any work. You're probably stressed and frustrated, so what should you do? In my opinion, this is when practicing self-care is most essential, when things aren't going the way you'd like them to. Because if you drown yourself in negative self-talk and shame, you're only going to prolong your suffering. But if you remind yourself that periods of productivity are normal and unavoidable, and learn to speak kindly to yourself the way you would speak to your own friend, you'll recover from slumps so much more quickly. Self-care is also really important when you're under pressure or feeling overwhelmed. I know that when I have a ton of work to do, it can be really hard to consistently get my runs in, eat healthy meals, and sleep properly. I feel like I have not put makeup on in so long. I really like it. But I know that when I do maintain all of those things, I feel much less burnt out and I do a much better job of staying on top of everything. So now when I think about self-care, I always look for the stressful periods in my life and ask myself, what can I do to make these more manageable? And most of the time, I find it only takes a little bit of effort to make a really big difference.
I thought my feels went with the seasons. We pick up the pieces and they make a mess.
So we all know what usually comes to mind when someone talks about self-care. Chocolate, long baths, spa dates, and detoxes, you know, that sort of thing. And these can definitely be really nice. But since we all already know how they work, let's talk about some other forms of self-care that can actually address the underlying causes of our unhappiness. I'll start with my favorite one, being honest with others about how I'm doing. I know it doesn't sound like much, but think about how often you tell people you're doing well, when really you're feeling pretty sad. I know I used to do this all the time, but here's the problem. When we're not honest with others about how we feel, we're telling ourselves that there's something wrong with being unhappy. Of course, that's not true, and it's totally normal to sometimes feel upset or insecure about things. I find that opening up to others really helps me realize that it's always okay not to be okay, and that there's no reason to ever feel ashamed about it. And once I let go of the shame, I started to deal with negative emotions in a much healthier way. Here's another important one, dealing with negative self-talk. Research shows that negative self-talk decreases our motivation and leads to feelings of helplessness, depression, and perfectionism. Here's how you can address it. First, just notice that inner voice speaking, saying things like, I'm just not good enough, or I'm such an idiot, or everyone hates me, or I'll never be able to do this. I'm not a morning person. I'm not an athlete. Then ask yourself if you would talk like this to your best friend. You're not good enough. You're such an idiot. Everyone hates you. You're never going to be a morning person. You're never going to be an athlete. You wouldn't, right? You would want to be kinder and more empathetic. So why not treat yourself with the same respect and care you would treat someone who matters to you?
We go just the same. When it comes to boys, I guess we never learn.